Hey guys, I just wanted to give you a bit of context before today's video kicks off. Shortly following the introduction, you're going to be watching a conversation that I had that followed a testimonial video that we shot and shared with you guys about 2 months ago. And it discusses the potential in starting a short-term rental business and getting a leg up through Michael and Katrina's coaching program. Now, today's video actually isn't about their course at all, and it isn't even about short-term rentals. It's about the concept of taking a side hustle to the point where it can actually realistically replace your 9-to-5 job. And we're going to discuss the power of debt weapons in accelerating this process, and we're going to talk about the necessary steps that one must take in order to ensure that the transition is not only sufficient over the short term, but massively successful over the long run. Hope you enjoy the video. Make sure you leave a like and comment below whether or not you like these types of videos here on my channel. Without further ado, let's dive in.
Awesome stuff, dude. Super impressive. I love hearing it for the first time on the video because it's just like, I'm always like, how many you got? You got three, four, five, but man, it's just like one after the other. People just keep coming in with dozens of units. And I'm like, man, this really works, dude.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's been super. I mean, we're really blessed with how much success we've gotten out. I think that we've gotten more success than most people, and we just been working hard. So, like I said, it pays to get on the phone, pays to call people, pays to put in the time. After you have worked your 9-to-5 job, it pays the time to spend some time in the evening. But it's my wife wants me to start spending less time on it. But we're getting there, right? It's like we're gonna get a year from now. I think things are gonna look insane for us, and we'll just have the glamorous life that we've always kind of wanted.
Do you two have children?
We got our new one now. She's about to be 7 months old here next week. Yeah.
So you're doing all this with a 7-month-old and barely any sleep.
I joined Michael and Katrina's program, and about a month after joining their program, we found out my wife was pregnant. And so the time leading up,
oh boy.
Yeah, the time leading up till she gave birth, I was like, the clock is ticking. I've got 9 months. I've got 9 months to really build this business. And she's just been fantastic, like super supportive through the whole thing. And she's really helped me out a lot because she knows I'm kind of like doing this 2-job type thing. And she has done a lot of the middle of the night, getting up, being sleep deprived on my behalf. And it's been amazing.
Well, it's pretty amazing to me that in the not too distant future, you'll be able to shave 15 to 20 hours a week off of your daily responsibilities and put 3 times the amount of effort into this business. So imagine what this business is going to be able to do for you when you're fully committed.
Yeah. I mean, I've definitely thought about that. And just based on our current financial situation, it's not really in the cards for me to do that yet. But I agree. It's like, if I could quit my job today, this business would grow just astronomically even more. But I think we're getting really close to that point. Maybe somewhere around 6 months from now, I'll be at that point, and then I could quit. And with the amount of time I can put back into the business it's just going to pay some crazy dividends.
Well, if you ever want a complimentary coaching session, I offer them on my channel. And in exchange for just taking the time to do this call today, I'd be happy to give you one. And normally I just have people fill out a basic, what we call cash flow cruncher. It gives me a snapshot of your current finances. And I've been doing this for 20 years. And I'm definitely well known for being able to come up with some creative ways for you to at least maybe reimagine what exactly is going on to change how you choose to move forward. Because I might come in and say, man, I think you're better off doing that in 3 months. I might come in and say, you know what, I think you're better off doing that in 9. I operate very conservatively, but from most people's perspective, they think I'm super aggressive. And it's just a matter of shifting your mentality behind how to properly leverage. But truth be told, let's hypothetically say you had access to a $100,000 home equity line of credit. There's absolutely no financial risk in your inability to afford the things that your current job currently allows you to pay for. But in exchange for that, It may require you to go into certain amounts of borrowing to do it, which is terrifying for most people. And I would never recommend that to somebody who didn't have any proof of concept or experience. But in your case, where you have now 13, 14 months worth of experience in this line of work, plus your own short-term rentals prior to Michael and Katrina's system, and you've got 26 properties to prove this does work for you and that you work for it, man, you could be selling yourself short, and not by a lot, and not by a lot. I mean, I wouldn't be saying this is a big difference between years and years of your future, but it could be the difference between months, and could be the difference between tens of thousands of dollars in your favor. So I'm always kind of looking at that angle and going, man, if I'm really going to do this, you're already willing to leverage into long-term rentals. You're already willing to leverage into a short-term rental. You're already probably leveraged into your primary residence. You believe in borrowing money when it makes sense. Why not lean into tools you have available to support you and supplement if necessary, so that you can just go full frickin' time? The other factor that you're going to really need to think about that would prolong my suggestion for people to quit is borrowing strength. It always impacts your ability to get access to capital when you transition from that W-2 into self-employment. It always sucks with the banks, man. They do not favor us as business owners, So if there were short-term needs for borrowing that I recognized in somebody's plan, I would obviously suggest delaying the transition from happening. But without knowing that information, I don't know what to tell you. But I definitely see in you, and with other people at the point you're at now, the work ethic and the potential to continue taking the chance to invest in yourself as much as possible, because doing so will far surpass the 6 figures you're earning at your job. Because 6 figures at a job is very seldom, it's almost always closer to 100 grand than it is 250 grand, right? And so the number is not usually a lot bigger than 100 grand when it's 6 figures. And in this business, you're already seeing, 100 grand is bullshit in your business now. It's nothing. You're having $100,000 months at this point.
My W-2 pays $115 a year, so that's exactly right. It's definitely the lower end of that, and those
which
are
is
all
fantastic. I'm not trying to sell that short. It's a good. It's amazing that you've done that. It really is. But you start to see just how small that is, and even though as kids, because you probably looked at that as a kid and go, 6 figures, 6 figures, 6 figures. We just shoot, we're always in our mind like, dude, if I only earn 6 figures, we're constantly like setting ourselves up to have this roadblock of earning more than 100. It's incredible to me how our system plagues us with that barrier.
Right, because like I'm planning to, get $1 million within the next few years, right? So it's like I completely agree. Like it doesn't mean much to me. Especially when you factor in time freedom too, because
that's right.
The fact that I have to set my alarm every morning and wake up at a certain time, that in and of itself is like, it's the principle, right? Like who's to tell me what time to wake up in the morning? So yeah.
Well, how about your 7-month-old? How about that?
Yeah. And that
she probably tells you. But hey, go back to what you said earlier in our conversation. You said spending the 10,000 saved me a lot.
Yeah, right.
Forfeiting the 115 could potentially leave you 300, 500, 750, because all that time of the majority of your work hours goes now into your short-term rental business. You could go 3 times bigger this year by quitting earlier than by waiting 6 months. And now I don't know that to be a fact. It's all obviously TBD, but given my first impression of you, and having done this for as long as I have and spoken with thousands of people, I'm usually a straight shooter about it. And if I don't have the confidence in someone, I'm going to tell them that too. My first impression of you is absolutely 100% your decision to leave sooner than later. It will pay off for you, whether that's 6 months instead of a year, whether that's 3 months instead of 6, whatever it ends up being, it will benefit you more than the earnings potential from that job.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Yeah, I think I might have to take you up on that offer, really kind of like diving into my financial situation and seeing.
Do you have a HELOC?
No, so I I got some partnerships going, right? So a little bit more context on our business. The property management business is a partnership 50-50 with a buddy of mine. So every profit that we get is 50-50. And then the two properties that I own are both partnerships as well. So those are both 50-50. And we just purchased those within the last couple of years. So equity wise, they're, probably not much.
Do you rent where you live?
The home that I live in now, we rent this house. We live in Texas
Got it.
now, and we're planning to move again. We're planning to move here in May of next year back to Oklahoma, where we're from, and may potentially buy a house there or not. But either way, we'd be leveraged pretty hard, right? Like we're not going to have any equity in any of these homes where we could tap into that. Now,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go to schedulewithmatt.com, 2 T's. Okay, schedulewithmatt.com, and pick the free coaching session option. And then you can go to cashflowcruncher.com, spelled exactly how it sounds. That's our complimentary budgeting spreadsheet. I think you'll find a lot of good use out of it. I usually set this up where I'll fill out one cruncher for my household economic ecosystem, and I'll fill out a second cash flow cruncher for my business ecosystem. So have 2 separate crunchers versus trying to merge it all together into one, because you'll find it gets a little too jumbled doing it that way. Okay, so set up one for the home. That's your budget for your house. And that's if your business is paying you distributions, you'll have an income reflected on your personal, and you'll have a dividend or expense that's on the business that should match up. So if you're taking an average of $5,000 a month for yourself out of the business, $5,000 a month expense on the business cruncher, $5,000 income on the personal cruncher. And then anything that the business pays for expenses would be on that spreadsheet, including anything you're writing off. Anything that you're paying for personally that you don't write off would go on the personal.
Okay, gotcha.
And it's very easy to do. Honestly, with the numbers that you have, you're probably tracking this stuff so closely anyways, that it's probably just a matter of transposing the data from whatever you're using into the cruncher. That exercise, I think, is super worth it. It might take you an hour to do both of them, but when you get done, there's not one person I can remember ever speaking to, again, tens of thousands of conversations with people who have used that cruncher, and they come back and say that is a super valuable tool in conjunction with whatever else you're using, whether it's QuickBooks or Mint or Rocket Mortgage or whatever the hell else kind of budgeting you're using. It just has certain data in it that's unique to what we look at. And so that kind of outlays your debts and your monthly expenses. Just use conservatively realistic averages for everything, because it fluctuates, obviously, right? So kind of look over the past 12 months and blend it into an average and just use conservatively realistic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I'll give you my 2 cents anyway. Won't cost you anything. I'm not going to try and sell you anything. Like I said, I don't even try and sell our coaching anymore. My businesses are way too profitable for me to even focus on that. Yeah. All of our coaching was done one-on-one. So it just took too much bandwidth. And so, I mean, me charging, because we charge similar to them, just under 10 grand for our coaching for a year, though. Yeah. Charging 10 grand for a year of my time is not a good deal for me, as surprising as that is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
do you think that like it would make sense at some point, it's like, okay, yeah, we've got this business that we're scaling, right? And, I think we're going to more than double our number of properties over 2024. But do you think it also maybe makes sense for me to spend time building up another stream of income, like doing coaching or something, or doing, like, now I've been kind of educating myself on creative financing and things. Like, do you think that it makes sense to hold off on trying to learn those things simultaneously while building this business, and just because I've only got so much time that I can allocate, right? Like,
I would 100% hold off. I would wait for now. So take it from me, because I have 6 companies. Okay. So I'm just giving you my own personal opinion, having diversified and grown out. I mean, I have I literally own a sewer company, as random as that is, right? So I teach finance, but I also have a plumbing company that we're trying to turn into a nine-figure business. Yeah. This is something I would hold off on until you transition away from your full-time job. So what you're going to do is it's going to revolve to where your short-term rental business is going to become your full-time business.
Mm-hmm.
You're no longer going to work in software design engineering. You're going to only do short-term rentals full-time. Then you're going to take that extra 15 hours of side hustle time that you just freed up, and you're going to put that into exploring the research part of how you can diversify next. Once you have essentially locked in your systems, processes, and team for your short-term rental business, where a lot of it's just on autopilot, you're going to find that if you were to commit 40 hours a week to that business, it's because you're purely growing it at that point. You're scaling it up. If you didn't scale it, it would almost be completely autopilot, right? It would just be like, hey, my team has everything under control. And at that point, you can even bring in a salesperson, and you can bring them into prospect, and you literally don't even have to do the business development part, and it will continue to compound the amount of time you have available to you to diversify into something else. I would say not to focus a whole lot of effort on all of that until the end of 2024. So get your transition away from full-time done, get your systems and processes completed, and then start thinking about, okay, how can I show other people, just like Michael and Katrina. And if it weren't for me, Michael and Katrina wouldn't even offer coaching. When I met Michael and Katrina, they weren't coaching. I told them to coach.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, that's
so it was
awesome.
It was a similar conversation, right? Where I said, look how much value you have to offer. Look at this amazing thing that you now know how to do, and you're really good at it. That has changed your entire future, changed the legacy for your family. Would you not be doing the world a disservice by choosing to not share that with people that would also love to replicate what you've done? And maybe it has nothing to do with the short-term rental space. Maybe it's something completely off the wall, like starting a plumbing company. I mean, it could be completely different, something. And I'm a more silent partner. I'm the business development portion of that team. My partner is the one that's in the literal trenches, literally playing with human feces all day, every day. I don't even know how to find a drain. I don't know the first thing about drains or plumbing, not one thing.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of opportunity once you're in a position to have had a business that's successfully automated and driving a significant amount of cash flow to you, because you're going to have to figure out what to do with that money as well. And that becomes another great problem to have. It's like, what the hell do I do with this cash? Right? So you're on your way. I would say give yourself a little bit of, take a little of the pressure off of yourself to rush that. You're so young. You have so much time. Keep focusing right now and don't distract yourself so that you can give the business the best opportunity possible to really optimize.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, jump on the calendar, download the Cashflow Cruncher, fill out 2 of them, one for the house, one for the business. And let's at least pair up again within the next few weeks or something. And I'll put another hour in with you, and we can at least just say, hey, here's my opinion. Here's what I would do if I were you. And I'm just further ahead than you. I just turned 45. You're ahead of where I was at 26, most likely. And so I think I can at least give you some things to think about, if nothing else.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, awesome. Yeah, I appreciate you talking to me today. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you too.
That are further ahead than me, right? Further down the road, so that they can give me their advice, and it's just more mentorship. It really helps me a lot.
Yeah, no, me too, man. I love talking to other people as well that are further ahead than me. And most people I speak with that are super generous with their information and knowledge. Eventually you get to a point where it's like, this is what it was all for. It was all for just being able to help other people,
Right. Awesome.
Well,
man.
I appreciate all your time. I can't thank you enough, and look forward to kind of following up with you maybe each year and see how things are progressing. And we'll have a phone call here in the next few weeks in the meantime.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Wilson. Have a great day, buddy.
All right. Later.
Later. Bye-bye.